Hello there. What is going on, my friends? We are doing a rare Saturday night live stream because I just noticed something that might be old news, but might be new news, might be brand new news, might be new news. But it's news to me, and so I thought I'd share it with you guys and just do kind of a Saturday night hangout also, and answer questions and talk to you guys and talk about an important new change to the Atomic Mass Games website and what this might actually mean, because Mini Stravaganza happened not long ago and they told us something. Look, long and the short of it is atomicmassgames.com is finally updated to showcase the new website. I don't know if this is the final product, but it actually shows Star Wars games now. So we're gonna take a look at it, and here, basically this is the top. So if you go to Atomic Mass Games, you can do this. You can do this along with me in another tab or another browser. It's kind of empty. Like, I don't think this is a finished product because this looks really work in progress ? I hope. It just looks strange, right? But you've got Legion, X-Wing, Armada. Now, Legion has a much bigger rectangle than X-Wing and Armada do, right? It's like Legion's like, here's the child we love, and here are the children we hate, right? Kind of right below them. And then of course they have Marvel Crisis Protocol, which also has a big rectangle, kind of like Legion does. But it's strange to see Star Wars on top of Marvel, though. I don't know if, because whatever. It's good because I might not have noticed it otherwise. And the truth be told, I was just coming to here to link. Somebody asked me about the new X-Wing, the quick builds that just came out, because X-Wing just had a new points update. And somebody asked him in a comment on one of the channels or one of the videos, is like, where can I find the points for this? I have no idea. The Fantasy Flight app isn't responding anymore. It doesn't have this new stuff in it and all this other stuff. So I was just going to their hair to link somebody to the new website. And sure enough, it's updated. And I didn't hear anything about this, and I haven't seen anybody say anything about this. And I go here fairly frequently. I don't know when this was updated, but it's live right now. So it's pretty cool. So it definitely looks like a work in progress now. We're gonna go through it. I want to talk about some stuff. We've still got some of the other things at the bottom. Like, if the bottom still kind of looks the same. Still got the the latest big reveal for Marvel Crisis Protocol here embedded. There's also kind of a new logo too, like where Atomic Mass Games is now framed in like a rounded triangle. So that's interesting. But yeah. So if you guys are we got anybody watching along, let me know where we're watching from tonight. I'd love to give you a shout out, and let me know if you guys have been to this website lately. If anybody knows more than I do about like this change, because there's more to this change than it just being good, and it is good. But if you guys were watching Mini Stravaganza, they talked about the website. Now, this website change has supposedly been coming for over a year now, thereabouts. And it was definitely for sure coming in like April, and then for sure in May, and then for sure, by Gen Con. And what's going on, Andrew from New Zealand? All right, dude. Thanks for dropping in. But so at Mini Stravaganza, they showed us a version of this website that was totally different. Completely rebuilt website from the ground up. It looked actually, quite professionally done, and it looked good. They didn't show us very much. They just showed us a couple of screen grabs. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And so what happens is, what's going on, everybody else? What's going on, Robert and Timmy? What's going on, Colin? Atlanta, Georgia. All right, rock and roll. Are they ever gonna reprint Epic? You think you mean huge ships for X-Wing, and maybe we'll find out next year, probably. They just keep saying to be determined for the huge ships and the rules and all that new stuff. But they showed us a very, very different website at Mini Stravaganza, and it seems like it was some kind of licensing deal where maybe they hadn't gotten the approval to be able to publish this new website or something like that. What's going on? Wow, we got Malrex all the way from Sweden coming in. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, if you guys don't mind, share this out with your friends, because I would love for us to get over 100 viewers. We'll do some giveaways if we can hit 100 viewers. I'll do some giveaways here in the live stream. And if we get more than that, then we can always ramp it up. I can do lots of giveaways if we get if we get this shared out. Because I want to reach as many people as we can, because I want to find out what people know. How long has this been going on? Matt says Baltimore, Maryland. We love crab here. Awesome. I love the crab emoji. But yeah, so if you go to atomicmassgames.com right now, you will see Legion, X-Wing, and Armada featured. Now, if we open these, like, we've got the Legion documents here, and so this is cool. It's definitely, it seems like it's a work in progress, though, because Legion, it just says Legion Assembly, right? Is the assembly stuff in here? Is that a whole separate subsection? The assembly diagrams are already linked in here in the Legion stuff, right? So we've already kind of got most of the assembly diagrams. We've got them all there. Okay, so we don't really need a whole link for assembly. What's the assembly? All right, that's the same thing. So they got a duplicate link there. I mean, that's I guess that's fine if they expect this one to have more traffic. That's great. We got X-Wing and Armada. X-Wing goes to here, the rules reference guide. X-Wing errata, ship points, upgrade points, previous ship point. Oh, they've got the old points as well, which is kind of cool. So like they've got all of this stuff. I haven't looked at this one too much lately, and I need to go to the ship points and look at that too, because we got all the new quick builds. Like Darth Vader's only 6, right? He got a points. Oh man, I got to run this guy. I got to run Darth Vader. B-Takov says, thanks for getting me into X-Wing. Awesome, man. I'm glad to help out and share the love of these awesome games and this awesome stuff. But what's really cool is that Armada is actually featured here now. And so, because the problem with the Armada stuff is I had to bookmark it because there was no link to any of the Armada documents. Like if I wanted to check out Rapid Reinforcements, I had to hope somebody had it saved, had the link saved, or I had to go find like the social media post that they made all those months ago to try to find that direct link to the to this Armada section here. And so people are asking like, hey, where's the rules? Actually, as a matter of fact, is the rules reference guide posted here? Or is it our tournament? So I think they need to add the current rules reference guide here, because there's no rules document. There's just the tournament rules, which is very, very different than the rules reference. So I don't know where the rules reference is. I mean, I wonder if it's over at Fantasy Flight Games. But yeah. So that's interesting. I mean, I guess I can always just post in the rules forum. Speaking of which, they do have a link to the rules forum. So if we scroll down a little bit, assembly, like they got all the important links for Marvel Crisis Protocol as well. They have a link to the rules forum right here, so you can go over to the rules forum, and you've got all of your, like, this is your FAQ where you can ask for a clarification on something, and they have experts who are going to come in here and answer these questions, which is really cool. However, this is not the same website that they showed us at Mini Stravaganza. And what's up with this banner here? Like, there's nothing there. So the whole top is very kind of empty, and so I really think this is a kind of an interim website. This is probably maybe like a test or a work in progress. I don't know if this was meant to go live just yet, but because if you look at the sidebar here also, this is the same thing they always had. Right, this was the problem. Like the thing I used to complain about is because their main page was only Marvel Crisis Protocol, and then you had the sidebar menu, which was very outdated. Like special announcement. What's their special announcement? November 2020. Hey guys, we're gonna be taking on the Star Wars games. I'm like, okay, that's super super old. Maybe that should go into historical documents. And then, then some of the stuff, like when they first took over, they were trying to get some links up here, and there was that organized play. What are we going to do in 2021? It's really, really old stuff that's out here. And then they have the X-Wing documents, and they had Legion documents. but there was nothing for Armada. So they made a whole subsection for X-Wing. This goes to the same place that your other X-Wing links. So basically, they just put shortcuts to important stuff kind of on their homepage. And if you click the little logo on the top left, it's going to take you back to the homepage, which is good. I mean, that's good site navigation. Like, this is nice. It's slightly redesigned little menu at the top left. But I'm really happy to see the Star Wars games actually featured on their website. It's a good thing. And like maybe, like, and they have these little bars like bracketing. Here's Marvel, here's Star Wars, right? They're kind of separated, and there's room. Like, this format allows them to add new IPs. So if they ever release that next game, whatever it is, if it's a Marvel game, it can go in here. If it's a Star Wars game, it can go up in here. If it's a whole different IP or a new IP altogether, they can just add an extra. It can go in between or down below or maybe at the top, or something like that. So they have the different sections for like the different IPs, which I think is pretty good. I think Armada should be at the top with by far the biggest rectangle, because it's definitely the greatest game on the planet, but that's just me being biased there. But yeah, so I just thought that was pretty cool, and they actually have a link to the shop here. This is shop.asmodee.com. Look at that. You can get in there and buy yourself some stuff. Be kind of cool if it could somehow direct you to Atomic Mass Games products as opposed to just Asmodee products in general, because somebody's saying, oh, I wanted that X-Wing starter set. Oh, wait, I don't see anything about that. Is this a broken link? A lot of people might not realize that Asmodee is the parent company of Atomic Mass Games. And so if you're looking for one of these things, so that would be a suggestion. If they're able to see this, is if there's a way. And this might not be something that Atomic Mass Games can do. This may be something that Asmodee has to do. But I think it would be pretty cool if Asmodee could do a custom shop front link that brings people to a homepage that specifically shows all the Star Wars content that they have. Whether it's just the Atomic Mass Games Star Wars content, or if it's also like you could have the Z-Man games with the Pandemic Legacy Clone Wars. You could have Fantasy Flight games with Star Wars Rebellion. They have that new Star Wars deck builder that's going to be coming out. Of course, Outer Rim and its expansion. You could have all of those in there as well. And then you can, of course, have sections for Legion, Armada, and X-Wing as well, which would be really cool. And I would love it if they had that. It would be really easy to refer people. And as for a new customer who's coming in here, you're probably going to be like, wait, I don't see anything about Star Wars in here. Like, there's a Marvel stuff, but there's not a Star Wars. Like, what does the Marvel section even show? Like, I like the Marvel section. Like, this is what I want for the Star Wars section here, right? Let me go back to, they even have that? I don't know. It's just, let's see. Do they have shop by type? They have, all right, shop by type Star Wars, right? So this is cool, and this is kind of what maybe this is what Atomic Mass Games could do. They could have a shop Marvel and link to that Marvel shop, and then they could have shop Star Wars and link to that Star Wars shop. I think that would probably be a good kind of comfortable medium. I think that's a cool idea. Let me know what you guys think in the section, in the chat, in the Discord. I don't have much more to talk about in this video than the website. I'm curious what you guys think. Do we got any good theories on why they did this update? Like, I don't know if it was today that it happened, but I do go to this website fairly frequently. Not every day, but I think somebody would have noticed. What was it, like Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday when the X-Wing points came out and people were getting all this stuff? So this had to have been within the last maybe 72 hours is my guess. Maybe today, maybe just now. I don't know. If anybody is watching that knows, like, hey, when this went live, let me know. Andrew, hey, you're in Orlando visiting. Glad to watch you live while I'm here. Awesome. Yeah, welcome to Orlando. Hopefully you're having a good time. Danny says, hey, what's going on, Danny? But yeah, so we are, AMG finally has Star Wars games on their website. Star Wars Armada finally on the website for the very first time. Legion and X-Wing were already here, but they were kind of hidden. So that's good. That's good. And so this is, I really hope this is a work in progress. There's lots more buttons and links they can put below these games too, similar to how Marvel Crisis Protocol is. But But that's good. And then they had their featured stuff. Featured transmissions. These are, I think, only Marvel, though. But that's the bottom section. That's still in the Marvel section, right? I suppose. Yeah, this is kind of like an everything section. So it still needs a little bit more. But also there's a new logo. Like they rebranded. It's still kind of the same robot with the Atomic Mass Games text and font with the little atom symbol. But you do have a frame around this now, which is pretty cool. So yeah. So I don't know if this means anything. I definitely think this middle bar here is, it's blank. I think it's definitely a placeholder. Maybe this means we're getting ready to see a new announcement, a new game announced. Wouldn't it be cool if they had a new game that was going to hit in time for the holidays and they kept it like a super, super secret surprise? That would be awesome. Andrew says, thanks. You got the kiddos at Disney and the yacht club. Super fun. Awesome. Yeah, the resorts over there are awesome. And the weather has been really good. So you picked a good time to come down to Florida where you can experience some of the warm weather without it being like ridiculously hot. Like it's been really, really pretty lately. It's been like you had the cool breeze, but you still get the sunshine, You can still get a suntan. You can even get a sunburn, but you're not going to like totally die of like that heat that just pushes you down to the ground, which is good. You're trying to get up to Sci-Fi City? Yeah, it's not actually called Sci-Fi City anymore. It's called FLGS Orlando. They've been they've changed. They've changed managers a couple of times. They now have somebody in who's trying to get the Asmodee and Atomic Mass Games products ordered and trying to get stuff because they had a falling out for a little, not a falling out, but they had just had some people, I guess, who didn't know how to order stuff, so they weren't getting anything new for a while, but now they should be getting some new stuff, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I'll play up there quite a bit. I don't know, I kind of stopped going there for a little bit because I donated some terrain to the store, and I guess like the owner, because it had changed ownerships earlier this year, like I guess the new company that bought him, like the owner, like will come down to the store and like he took all the terrain that I donated and sold it on eBay, and so like I thought that was, I mean, granted I donated it, so it wasn't really mine anymore, but like I kind of donated it to the store for people to play with, and it's just it was just really, really awkward. So I don't know. I hadn't been going there as much lately, but I'm gonna try and get back fairly soon. It might be a little hard to get it done over the weekend, though, or over the holidays. What's going on, everybody? If you are just joining us, basically the topic tonight is Atomic Mass Games finally has Star Wars games on their website. They've pushed a weird kind of change. It's a weird change because it's got the Star Wars games. It's still got Marvel Crisis Protocol. It's still got lots of links. It looks better. It looks a lot better than it used to. It's still not perfect, but it's better. And I'm really thrilled to see, the games that they make and that they support shown on their website, on the homepage. That's great. But you got this huge empty spot. And maybe this is, I should try it. I'm going to try it on my phone and see if it looks different. Like maybe the reason it looks so weird is because it's formatted only for phones. I don't know. Let me see. AtomicMassGames.com on my phone. Yeah, it's still got the big banner here at the top, although now it's got like a gold bar at the bottom on my phone, so it looks a little different on the phone, but it does look better on the phone. I just feel like this bar here is a placeholder. New content, the closest we have, so Elizabeth is asking if there's new content as well. There is certainly the placeholders for new content. You've got a lot of space below these logos for more links. You've got more space, like how MCP has all these special things. Like I noticed under the Armada documents, like the links work, which is great. It takes you to where you can actually get all this stuff. Because I used to tell people would ask me like, hey, how can I get to the new, like to the rapid reinforcements or the Armada stuff? And it's all right here. I don't know where the rules reference guide is, so that's that needs to go. They need to get that up. See, X-Wing has it, right? They have the X-Wing has the rules reference. Legion has the rules reference, so I don't know where the Armada rules reference is. I think the latest one is I don't know where it is. I think we had it linked in the Star Wars Armada Facebook group, so I'll have to double check there. Because for a while I think it was still hosted on the Fantasy Flight servers, because like a lot of this stuff, if you look at it, the URL isn't atomicmassgames.com. It's like static1.squarespace.com. So it's all hosted under like this direct link to a Squarespace website, and it doesn't like show that it's hosted on atomicmassgames.com. Do your rules reference links still work? Carrie's asking. I don't have any links saved for the rules reference because I usually don't have to reference the rules reference very often. Let me go check Fantasy Flight. Let's see if Fantasy Flight has it. You're gonna browse with me here, so hopefully I don't get any pop-ups. What is this? Stay in the know. I don't want that. What? I don't want to sign up for text. Okay, I don't. Wait, I have to put my phone number in to go to fantasyflightgames.com right now? What? No, I don't. Just give me that. Yeah, there you go. Products. Do we still have... We still have the Star Wars. Okay, we still have... Oh, no. We don't have the other games anymore. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to do some searching later on and see if if the rules reference is posted anywhere anymore. I'm sure that they still have it. It may have been an oversight because they didn't actually have like an Armada link on their homepage at any point, so probably it wasn't getting a lot of traffic. So hopefully now it'll get more traffic. Andrew says, what new game do you think might be coming from AMG? I have no idea. It's been hinted to me that it'd be a game that I would like. And knowing AMG, it'll probably be... I'm thinking something kind of like closer to Marvel Crisis Protocol than anything else. The reason I say that is because if you look at what they've done with X-Wing, I feel like they're taking X-Wing a lot closer to the direction of Marvel Crisis Protocol. I feel like X-Wing is kind of like X-Wing Crisis Protocol. With the scenarios they have are very, very similar to Marvel Crisis Protocol's scenarios. They follow like the same kind of framework. And they also are like the new standardized loadouts are very similar to how Marvel Crisis Protocol's unit cards are. And that is just, this is what you get. Just pick your ship and fly. And just like with Marvel Crisis Protocol, just pick your heroes and play. And those, and they're, I feel like they're meant to be like a quick setup, get you into the game quicker and have fun. And that's what they want you to do. But I think that was kind of a bridge too far for a lot of people with X-Wing because they changed it so much. They took it away from where it was and kind of brought it into something different. But I love Marvel Crisis Protocol. It's a super fun game. And so I don't necessarily hate the 2.5 stuff very much. I'm not super thrilled about it. But there's things that I do like, especially with the new standardized loadouts. So I have a feeling whatever they do will kind of follow some of the principles that we've seen between the new X-Wing rule set and Marvel Crisis Protocol, and that it'll probably be, if it's some kind of skirmish kind of game, then I don't think it'll have like a lot of upgrade cards. I think it'll be more based on like, just pick what you want to field and let's go, so to get you playing quicker. A DC version of Crisis Protocol? Oh man, could you imagine that? Could you imagine if they got Malrex says, Crab, stop pulling your beard. Yeah, I do that a lot, don't I? I do this, like, I do it unconsciously now. I think it's the longest it's ever been right now, and so I'm not used to this, and so I'm, like, I feel like this whole different thing on my face. I apologize. I'm going to try to do it less. We went to a Halloween get-together tonight, and I went as Vincent Van Gogh, and I had orange paint all through my hair and beard, and so I was trying to get it all. I still have little bits of it in here, so it's a little irritating. So it's messing with me. Let's see. Did FFG still have Imperial Assault section of the Star Wars games? Let's see. They do have Imperial Assault. Yeah, they still have Imperial Assault. It's still in print. I think it's a complete game, but complete games can still be in print, right? Yeah, yeah, it's definitely still here. You see, this is I think Fantasy Flight had the best website for gaming here because you get to see all the expansions. It's sorted really really well, and then like if I click on one of these, view and store, it's going to take me. Oh, okay. It's going to take me to their. You used to be able to pre-order from FantasyFlightGames.com. If I say here, view and store, it's going to take me to the Asmodee store, and I can find the product directly straight from here. So this is like the ultimate. Like, oh man, it's really a shame like that they can't copy this because the other thing I loved about the Fantasy Flight website was like if I wanted to find more about this, I could go into the here and now like all of the news articles about this product are going to be right here, and so I can if I want to like learn more, I can read Fantasy Flight's own write up about this. Now, not to say that AMG doesn't also do similar things. They have their atomic mass transmissions, which is nice, but I think long term, again, especially if the new website here is just a work in progress, it definitely looks like that. Is that I think they need to do something similar. I think you need to list every expansion, every piece of content these games have, within here. Like when you go to X-Wing, right? There should be a like expansions or products. There should be a products page, and then each one should take you to give you a link where you can get the link straight to the Asmodee store to buy it, but it also should give you information about it. And this might mean they have to, contract somebody to kind of write a product description, or they could probably borrow the old FFG product descriptions because I think they're all, for most of them, they're probably still pretty accurate. But I think that'd be a really good idea. It's just it's helpful, and it's also helpful for returning players to go back and be like, what was the draw? What was the special thing about this guy? I want to try a new faction? Should I pick up this ship? Why, And it kind of gives you kind of an overview on it. So we've got Ozzy says hello from down under. What's going on, Ozzy? Carrie says add Capcom to Crisis Protocol. I would love that. And be able to do some Marvel versus Capcom. I want to get me some. Gosh, who was my ultimate team? I used to run Cable and Juggernaut and Charlie. There's a cool Capcom game. Is a Street Fighter the miniatures game, which is really really cool. I love that game, and I backed it off of, it was a Jasco game. It was off a Kickstarter, and it showed up, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a really, really, really fun game. And then so I went ahead and bought like this and I had all these cards, and I bought this big suitcase to kind of sort all the cards. I sleeved all of the cards for this game. It was miniatures and cards. And I sleeved all cards and all the expansions. I spent probably $200 on sleeves. And as soon as I got them all sleeved, I haven't played the game again since. And that's been like a year ago. And so, like, that's my curse. I don't know how many of you guys do this. We're almost up to 50 viewers right now. What's going on, everybody? If you guys haven't already, make sure you share this video out with your groups. Let's spread the word that AMG is updating their website, getting the Star Wars games on here, and yeah, it's awesome. Angry Joe did. I think he was a like executive producer or something like that or designer for that game. Yeah. It's a quality game though. It's super fun. It's not perfect. I have some issues with it, and there were some balance issues which weren't that big of a deal for me because a game like that, I'm just gonna play it casually, so I really don't mind if one hero is stronger than another hero. I generally don't mind that very much. But yes, so pizza. Pizza, great name. He says, hey, Crabbok, I just bought the Shadow Collective core set and Gar Saxon and can't wait to build them soon. Thanks for pointing me in the Legion direction. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. Love to hear from you. Love to talk with everybody and find out about all the fun that these games are bringing into your lives. They certainly enriched my life quite a bit, and that's I'm happy to talk about that, and hopefully these games are going to keep thriving for a while since AMG actually has them on their website now. It only took like 2 years. We could joke about it. It's funny to joke about it. I try not to harp on AMG that much. I'm not their biggest fan, but at the same time, I don't want to. I'm trying to, I've tried really hard to rebuild a relationship with them, but it's just not going to happen. They're just not big fans. What can I say? But maybe that'll change someday. Maybe we'll get things going. But I think there's definitely something else planned for this. Maybe next week. Let me know if you think next week we are actually going to see something to fill in like this banner here. Like somebody created a fancy banner, right? It's nice. It's got a little gradient of like dark black to light here in the middle, and then back to dark black, and you've got this kind of watermark of the AMG robot head. You got the atom symbol here. Like this is here for a reason. This is here for them to overlay other things over the top of. This is the news section up here. Like, hey, have you seen our latest super big announcement? Our new game, Voltron, and I'll form the head. Or whatever. It's probably not Voltron. Maybe it's Thundercats. Maybe it's some 80s nostalgia. And oh my gosh, that would be cool. 80s stuff is hot right now, man. I'm telling you. I mean, I don't know. Could be a star screen even for a background. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they're gonna have. What's coming. I don't know what the IP is. I mean, I feel like I don't think it's a Star Wars game because when it was first announced that AMG had another game coming, this was back in early 2020. Fantasy Flight still, like, they didn't have a merger. They had also just announced that Fantasy Flight Miniatures was going to be its own department. Steve Horvath said that in the Gamma. That was like one of the best interviews ever. It gave us so much insight into what was going on, and it's such a great benchmark to kind of see where things are now. But I just don't think they would have, put a Star Wars game under AMG, and since they had Fantasy Flight Miniatures, which was their Star Wars miniatures studio, right? So I don't think that they would have done that. It's possible, but I don't think so. So, if it's not Star Wars, it could be another Marvel title. The Marvel title, the IPs, they must be doing well. They're making lots of new games. They have Marvel Champions for Fantasy Flight is doing good. It could be a Lord of the Rings game. That's something that it could be. It could be a Lord of the Rings game because Asmodee does have a Lord of the Rings license. They have the Lord of the Rings card game. It could be something Cthulhu based as well. But I feel like Asmodee with Legion really wants to compete with Games Workshop. That was one of the big things about Legion. It was like, that's why it was kind of in the scale it was in. I think they're really trying to compete with Warhammer. And Games Workshop also has a Lord of the Rings or a Middle-earth fantasy game. And I wouldn't be surprised if AMG is working on a Lord of the Rings miniatures game. That would give them kind of 3 different eras of miniatures, right? Like if Marvel Crisis Protocol gives them like the current timeline of miniatures, like modern things, with your shield and Hydra stuff and your superhero theme, but it's still kind of in a modern scenario with the city streets and stuff like that. You get your futuristic with Star Wars Legion, but you don't have anything fantasy or from the past. And so Lord of the Rings would kind of cover like what I consider like the holy trinity of hobby kind of stuff, which is past, present, future. Sometimes it's like Star Trek or other sci-fi things that kind of cover the future. Sometimes it's like D&D that cover kind of the past. Sometimes it's different types of modern things like vampire kind of stuff or cyberpunk or Shadowrun for a kind of current timeline or dystopian alternate timeline present. But yeah, they don't have anything for like that. That ancient fantasy history, medieval kind of game. And I think that's a block that they could, I think that's a gaping hole they have. So something that's fantasy based would be really cool. But they also, I don't know if Lord of the Rings, like if it's really that good of an idea to go with something that they would have to kind of be beholden to another IP for. And I think to myself, wouldn't it be smarter if they used one of the IPs they already have and used like the world of Terranoth, which is the Rune Wars world? Andrew Cook says they could be using Rings of Power. That's possible. The problem with that is I don't think Rings of Power existed back in early 2020 when they already had game number 2 in the works. And apparently it was far enough in the works that they felt comfortable at least talking about it. It wasn't like close to being revealed or not, but yeah. So yeah, Carrie says she'd really like a Middle Earth Minis RPG by Fantasy Flight. I think that could totally work. I think that would be. It wouldn't be something I would be that excited for initially because while I do enjoy Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and Middle Earth, it's not one of my favorite licenses. Like I don't get as deep into that. Like I've never read the Silmarillion. I haven't watched a single episode of Rings of Power yet. I plan to. I've been busy with other stuff. We have been watching the. Could also be another fantasy era they have the license to is Game of Thrones, right? They have the Game of Thrones board game, which is kind of I think slightly different from a Song of Ice and Fire, because Simon has the Song of Ice and Fire miniatures game, which is like that rank and file kind of system. What if they were to do a Game of Thrones board or a House of the Dragon even? And that man, House of the Dragon would be a really cool setting for a game because it has so many more dragons. I'm not going to talk about spoilers or anything from it, but it's during a time where there's a lot more dragons. And Game of Thrones already has a minis game. Yeah, everything already has a minis game. Star Wars already had minis games. Marvel already had minis games. This doesn't stop them from coming out with more of these. That's the thing is all they have to do is come up with some way to make it a little bit different. Easy way to do it for Game of Thrones is for it not to be a rank and file game, because to my understanding, the Song of Ice and Fire is a rank and file game. So if you just do it kind of like Legion or whatever, where you just cohere your units, kind of like how Age of Sigmar does it, you just cohere them like similar to Legion, then you'd already have a huge different kind of game right there. Team Green or Team Black? I'm Team Black, absolutely. But at least as of right now, I mean, things could happen in future seasons that might change that. From what I understand, Team Black's going to go a little bit crazy, according to the books. I haven't read the books, but I watch a couple of YouTube channels. Who's it? Charlie from Emergency Awesome is one of my favorite YouTubers to talk about, a lot of pop culture shows and things like that. But I, for one, think it will be a new IP that will blow our minds. Boom. I'm not going to lie, man. I would love it if it was an all-new IP. I would also love it if it was one of their existing IPs, like Twilight Imperium or Terranoff, or I was going to say Keyforge at one point in time, but they don't really have that one anymore unless they have a relationship. But I would love for it to be an IP that they're not beholden to some other corporate authority on, and this way they can put gameplay over theme, because let's just say, oh man, you know what? I really wish for Star Wars Legion, I wish we had units that could cloak on the battlefield, but that could also transform into a dragon. Because that's what the game needs. I mean, it doesn't really need that, but that does actually sound cool now that I think about it. But you'd have a harder time coming up with it. You don't see a whole lot of dudes cloaking in Star Wars on ground combat. You see that for ships, sometimes, very little bit, but you see it a little bit with ships. But you don't really see that with, in Legion type stuff. There is some, I think there's some stealth things, but it's not common. Right, but if that would be a really cool mechanic, you gotta how can we kind of do a similar mechanic? You have things like incognito, so you kind of pigeonhole yourself, and you're or not pigeonhole, but you kind of strong arm yourself. It becomes more difficult to create a mechanic that would work really, really well and be fun in this game, but there's no unit that matches that. So how could we do it? Oh yeah, we probably can't. You couldn't put gods. Maybe you wanted to make like hero units that were gods. So you couldn't put gods in Legion. The best you could do would be like powerful Jedi or Sith, like Palpatine and Yoda, but they're a pretty far cry from gods. They're strong units, but that's about as strong as you can realistically get. You can't really do much more than that. And the closest next thing up that maybe you could do is some of the really large vehicles like an AT-AT or something like that, but it's too big to fit in a Star Wars Legion. So if you had your own, if they owned Star Wars, and they could just say, all right, well, you know what, we're going to create a god. We're going to make, light side god number 12. His name is Altiriak the Benevolent, And he's a small mini, but he's 400 points and he's crazy powerful, right? And then you could do stuff like that if you owned the IP. So while that sounds crazy, I say it just to illustrate a point that if they made another game that they owned the IP for, it would be fantastic. I would love to see that. A known IP sells more, of course. A known IP is definitely going to get a lot more traction. I agree with that. But at the same time, since you don't have to pay royalties to somebody else, maybe it's worth it. Somebody once told me a long time ago that like when Fantasy Flight was making X-Wing, before they had Legion or Armada or Imperial Assault or any of that stuff, when X-Wing exploded over at Fantasy Flight Games, if you were to look at a pie chart of all of FFG's sales, the pie was almost all X-Wing. It was like, one of these piles where it's like, X-Wing, it's all the red, and then there's a blue slice, and it's like also X-Wing, but in blue. It was almost all X-Wing. And so they said to themselves, like, dude, this is great that we're selling this much, but we have all our eggs in one basket. So if something goes wrong, like let's say X-Wing becomes broken and people find like, hey, you know what, if we just run all TIE fighters, it's unbeatable, and now the game system sucks or whatever, for example, right? So you don't want all your eggs in one basket. Or what if Lucasfilm pulls the license or whatever? You never know. So they had to kind of diversify a little bit, and part of that diversification was making other Star Wars games, which doesn't really handle the licensor thing. But then Fantasy Flight was coming out with other stuff, and you had Keyforge, and so they're always trying to try to spread things out for stability's sake. I think they should do that for stability's sake. Create their own IP, have something in here in case they, let's just say Disney called up Asmodee and said, you know what, guys, forget it. We're yanking all our licenses back for a good 5 years, no more, right? If these guys have nothing else, then this whole studio would be shut down. They have like 100% of Atomic Mass Games' content is Disney licensed games. So I think it really would benefit them to create something else that's owned by Asmodee, or something unique to Atomic Mass Games. Even if it didn't sell, it doesn't have to sell as well as Legion. It doesn't have to sell as well as Marvel Crisis Protocol. It can still have value. And maybe it's something they can just do kind of slowly and build it up, especially if the game system's solid and the minis are beautiful. I didn't know anything about GW games, and then I started playing Age of Sigmar, and I fell in love with it. I didn't know anything about the license. I didn't need to. All I needed to know is that I had a friend who was going to play it with me, and I saw the minis and like, oh, this is pretty. You can launch a new IP. Who else is doing it right now? That Kickstarter that you may have seen me talk about, Warcrow. Like, that's an all new IP. I think it looks great. I think it looks groovy. It's the start of a whole new setting, and there's going to be multiple games in that setting. And Corvus Belli is doing it. And it was a paid video. It was a sponsored video that I did, but I still think it looks really cool. This is not sponsored by them. So I'm just saying, look, it does look really cool. I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think it looked cool. But I think it's going to hit So I guess the point is, a new IP is fine. I don't have a problem with a new IP. What's going on, everybody? If you are new here, if you just joined in, we are talking about Atomic Mass Games' new website. It's got Star Wars on it now, but it's not the super detailed website that we saw them kind of tease during Mini Stravaganza. I don't know if that website is coming or not. I guess I'm going to have to ask them. Mountain Variety Show says it's better, but still looks like it was done by pure amateurs. It does look like, like if you go to Crabbok.com, I did that all myself. It's not a great website. It's definitely not, right? I feel like something like this may have been done with a very similar kind of, I don't know if this was done in WordPress or not, but like that's, I feel like this was kind of done with the same level of, like, some intern who had maybe built one website before is like, I know how to do it, right? It's a little better than that. I'm teasing here. It's not that bad, but what they teased looked awesome. Like, they had a really nice team, create a beautiful website, and this isn't that. So, and granted, maybe this is just for now, and maybe the other one's still coming. Or maybe they finally, like, and if so, like, why didn't they just do this earlier? They could have put these games up here 2 years ago. Why wait? And why, like, why now? For a slight, I say slight tweak, but apparently it takes them like 2 years to put up a new website. So this is probably a big freaking deal to AMG. That's what I'm really wondering is like, what was the impetus that made them do this? I'm just so curious, and maybe I'm grasping at straws here, What scale Legion is? Oh gosh, what is it, like 152? I think is the like 1/52, 1/50 ish. It's something like that, and such that a lot of the 1/44 terrain model kits work really well with it, but they're not exactly that. I think it's 1/52 is the scale for a Legion. Yeah, roughly. All right, guys. I don't have a whole lot more to say. This was really just a single point issue. The thumbnail kind of covered it, but I feel like there was enough more to talk about with some of the guessing. It's not much, right? But at least the Star Wars games are here. The fact that they're above Marvel Crisis Protocol is interesting, and the fact that there's a lot of like empty space at the top of the website, which is the first place people are going to see. I think I'm going to put this out there. I think within 1 week, I think this coming week, for early November, first week of November, we're going to see a big announcement from AMG. I think 152 is correct, says Ben. All right, Ben. Well, I'm going to take your word for it. Since you said I'm correct, I'm calling you the expert of the day. All right. Well, that's going to do it for today, guys. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out and checking out this live stream. A little bit of a shorter live stream, but I thought it was a pretty cool Saturday night live stream. I will talk to you guys later. I also want to do more live streams where we play games together. Let me know if you guys are interested in doing stuff like that. We've got the Jackbox party packs. There's lots of those. Those are really fun to play. There's also games in Discord we can play together. If you guys haven't already joined the Discord, hop in Discord. I might even play some games in Discord tonight. There's some really fun ones in there. We can all play together. As a matter of fact, as soon as I sign off here, I'm going to hop in Discord and play some games. So if you guys want to jump in Discord, play some games together, we can do that too. All right? What do you guys think? Sound fun? Okay. Maybe next time I'll stream it. I'm going to close out of this stream. I'm going to hop in Discord. I'm going to play some games with you guys. And that's going to do it. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out today. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. See ya.